Hello everyone, this is Shane Silva with Textbook Productions. Today we're going to interview some people about vaping on campus. We're going to ask for their opinion and whether or not they believe it is a problem on our campus and how they would solve that problem. Alright, first question. Have you ever seen someone vaping on campus? If so, where?
I have not seen a student vaping on campus.
No, I've never seen anybody vape on campus.
No, I have not seen anyone vape on campus.
No, I have not seen anyone vape on campus.
No, I haven't.
Yes, and practically everywhere. Definitely like a classroom and parking lots, like for sure, like the biggest ones, I think.
Do you believe there's a vaping problem at our school? Why?
I think that there's a vaping problem at like almost any school that you go to, because it's kind of like the forbidden fruit in a sense, but also the fact that it contains nicotine, which is like addictive. So of course, I think it'll eventually become a problem because it is an addiction.
We have acknowledged that there is a vaping problem. We know this because we have caught students with vaping devices, and teachers have notified us when students, they suspect that students are vaping on campus. And we also know this through talking with students and talking with parents.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there is a problem. And actually, I'd like to amend that. I've worked at a football game, and I've seen people at football games do it, not necessarily students. So I have seen people do that, or they've left gym for an activity, and I think they're probably doing that, including referees, actually. So, but yeah, there's a problem.
Yes, just because I know like a lot of students do vape and like do that type of stuff.
I would, because there's a lot of kids able to vape and it's very accessible nowadays.
There might be a small one. I hear students talking about it.
Do you believe vaping is a gateway to drugs or other tobacco products? Please explain.
I do think it definitely into smoking because of the nicotine that's involved in it.
I'm not really sure. I feel like there's like hasn't been enough research for me to like fully form an opinion on that. I don't really know where it leads to, but no, as far as
Absolutely. It is a gateway. I talked with a drug addict not terribly long ago, and he mentioned to me that for him, marijuana was the gateway drug to all of his drug addiction problems with harder drugs that came later. He said to me, that was my gateway. So this nicotine or vape juice, all of these items are gateways into tobacco or gateways straight into marijuana, which is the gateway into harder drugs. I'm concerned about vaping. The mysteries or the falsehoods that surround it, like it's not harmful, that is false. It is harmful. It has toxins. It will hurt the lungs, and it will age individuals faster than if they stay away from those items. So, yes, the vaping is a gateway to drug addiction later.
Yes, I think probably it is. It's been my experience of teaching for over 30 years that kids that used to use marijuana, they'd always say, well, I just want to stay with marijuana, but there's a certain percentage, relatively large, that seems to go beyond that. It doesn't just stay there. It becomes alcohol, it becomes methamphetamine, it becomes something else. There's very few people that just say, hey, I just want to smoke a cigarette and that's it. But, so, yeah, it's not good for you.
Yes, just because it's like I feel like for younger kids it's like the most accessible like thing for people to get because you only have to be 18 to buy it online and stuff, so they could just have older siblings buy it for them.
I feel like vaping itself is a drug because it's very addicting. I don't believe it's a gateway though.
Legally, schools can search students' possessions for drugs if they have reasonable evidence. Do you think our school should search students' possessions for vaping apparatus, and why?
If there's suspicion of vaping, I do believe authorities could search our bag.
Yes, I do. It's a safety concern for all students and staff involved.
if there's like super sufficient evidence, but I think they're going to be like super surprised to see how many kids are actually like own a device and like use like and that they bring on campus.
Well, we have to have what's called reasonable suspicion to conduct a search, and that basically means that someone has given us a tip that they're concerned that an individual is involved in some kind of a behavior that's concerning them. And so when we have reasonable suspicion, we are obligated to search. We have to. And we have to ask them questions. And sometimes, when necessary, we get law enforcement involved. So, yes, if there is reasonable suspicion, they should be and have to be searched.
I think our school should offer a class in like dog training. And I think we ought to have like drug sniffing dogs on campus, walking around all the time, because I like dogs. I'm not being facetious. I'm being totally serious here. I'd love rooms and buildings when there's dogs lying around on the side and people come in and dogs talking to everybody. And I just think it'd be a good feel. So instead of having some of the classes we have here, we need like a dog training class. So I'm all in favor of searches.
Yeah, if they have reasonable evidence, like to think that that person is vaping or like think that they do vape, then yeah, I think they should search them.
How could the school regulate or prevent vaping?
They could just, I don't know. I mean, they could search people, but it would be like if they have evidence for it. I don't know how to prevent it more though.
I think it should be enforced if a student is caught vaping, just as it would be for any other product or thing that they're not supposed to be doing. Should be a consequence.
I don't know. I really just like educate kids as far as I know, because how did we get rid of smoking and like cigarettes, We just maybe do like the same sort of tactics.
I think there's a couple of avenues for regulating vaping. One of those ways is to educate the students and the school community, which we're doing. We had an open house here just a couple of days ago where people were able to come in and take a look at vape devices, learn about vaping. And the other aspect of it is also providing consequences for those who are caught vaping, and to do preventative measures to make sure that they're not vaping, whether it's during class or outside of class, in bathrooms, whatever it might be. We are aware that students are vaping everywhere when they have vape devices. Now, we know that not all students are doing it. In fact, the great majority of our students are not, but there is a small minority who are and believe that they can do it and get away with it. It's against the law. It's a problem. It's not good. It's not going to help them learn. In fact, it will negatively affect their learning and make it more difficult for them to be able to achieve and to learn and to have successful futures.
I don't think it's necessarily the school's responsibility to regulate or prevent it. If we observe it, we should say something about it. We can try to do education, but ultimately it comes down to the kids and their families and their peers. And vaping has become, it's a body image thing in a lot of cases. It's an appetite suppressant. It's a habit, and people are worried about their weight or whatever, and they'll do that. And it's kind of cool to be a rebel and illegal and do something that somebody else isn't doing. So in the back of the school bus, right, somebody's got the vape pen and they're bending down, they're doing it, and all of a sudden they're showing off more than anybody else. And I don't know. I don't have a really good answer to it. I think ultimately you just have to make school a nice, fun place to be, and then kids won't look for something else.
How do you feel about vaping? Do you think it's fine or no?
Well, you're talking to a guy who's had 4 thoracic lung surgeries for cancer. I've gone through 3 open surgeries and 1 VATS, which is kind of a simpler one. And for a 50-year-old guy, you kind of want to keep your lungs. They don't grow back. And even though somebody will say, well, smoking a cigarette's worse than vaping, I'm sorry, if you're sitting around a campfire, you get stuff in your lungs. You can't be putting good stuff in there and bad stuff in there. It's not good for you. So I'm not a big fan of vaping.
How do you feel about vaping? Is it good or no?
I don't really know. I think that it's not good for you, but I think it's, if the person is like trying like get off cigarettes, I think it's definitely better. But for teenagers to use, and like, I don't think it's necessarily great.
I don't think it's good. It's definitely not good, but everyone does their own things.
No, I think it's really bad for you, like very bad.
Of course, it's not. It's harmful. And so we want to do everything possible to help students understand what will happen to them physically and emotionally from doing it, and also what will happen in terms of breaking education code, which is school rules, about it. So, of course, it's bad. Of course, we are committed as a school to preventing it and to giving consequences to those who get involved in it, because it negatively hurts our school learning culture. It hurts learning, and we're about learning. So.
You also kind of answered this a little bit, but what do you feel like we can do as a community to spread awareness about the health hazards associated with vaping tobacco products?
I think the important thing is to get good information. Don't go onto vaping sites and expect to get real, authentic information. It's the same way we look at those commercials about cigarettes from the 1950s, and we laugh at them where they were talking about how cigarettes are health promoting, and it's such a joke, but that was what the tobacco companies did. They promoted cigarettes as health promoting. Now the vaping companies are saying, well, this is a way to get off tobacco, and actually no, it's a way to get hooked. If you vape, it is a way to get hooked, which leads to other things. So, yeah, it's not healthy, it's a problem, and we're concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the stuff you're doing is great. Videos, I think talking about it, I think finding out reasons from students why they do it, is something else. And it's got to be an honest reason, too. It's not just, hey, my knee hurts and, I've got a medical marijuana card because I'm 18 and this is the easiest way to do it and makes it feel good. That may be a different reason entirely from somebody who's, got mom or dad's vaping, pen or whatever it is and brings it to school and like showing off their freshman or sophomore buddies about what a rebel they are. And those are two different things. So.
Definitely by speaking to our children at a young age and letting them know the effects of it and the dangers that could be involved.
Maybe show them more articles about kids that get caught with vaping and like limit the resources for like people to vape or get things to vape.
I don't know. I think social media probably is their best bet because so many people are on it.
Just announce it, really. Tell everyone. I mean, can't really do much besides telling them not to vape. That's all you can do, really.
Thank you.